Hello my audience, today we are going to be writing the blog again, and today we are going to write a blog story, and I'm thinking that I will write a story about the character named Conjurer, and we're gonna start it like this. The Conjurer was trapped in the dark room. He had started building the room with the wooden pillars in each of the four corners. In these wooden pillars, he had carved decorative symbolisms and poetries that spiraled around the wooden surface. Okay, so I'm gonna write it like this. We're gonna take this software, this is called Focuswriter, and we are going to go and proofread it like a paragraph at a time. The Conjurer was trapped in the dark room. He had started building the room with wooden pillars in each of the four corners. I'm going to break the rules a bit over here. In these wooden pillars he the Conjurer, so we kind of understand who we are talking about, had carved decorative symbolisms and poetries that spiraled around the wooden surface. On each of the four corners of the room there was a bookshelf, and all the books on the shelves were black. It was a very solemn and depressing. Do you know this word? Do you know this word? Solemn. It means like darkish. It was a very solemn and depressing place to live. Why doesn't this software at the moment, understand my words very well? It was a very solemn and depressing place to live. But the Conjurer liked it. What's the problem over here? No. On each of the four corners of the room there was a bookshelf, and all the books on the shelves were black. Put a column over here. All the books on the shelves were black. It was a very solemn and depressing place to live, but the Conjurer liked it. Now though, the Conjurer had gotten an what's the word when you have not, foreseen something to happen? Uncalled or uninvited, or it's not like that, Unforeseen. Unforeseen visitor. To the dark room. And he was kind of forgetting all the words today. Now though the Conjurer had gotten we're gonna write now though the Conjurer had been visited by an unforeseen being from the deep. Let's write like that. We can copy it like this also. We can, work like this. But the main idea over here is that because we are going to write this into a blog, that will be the last part. In here we try to make it kind of as good as it gets, and this one doesn't have to be, right. There can be mistakes in this. Yeah. The being had with him a pyramidical object in his hand, and when the Conjurer looked at it, the object more closely, he saw inside of the object a lot of suit-wearing men pacing around in what seemed like a very sophisticated business building. Something like that. We're gonna start it like this, and then we're going to start like we're gonna start following the rules. The being had with him a pyramidical object. Let's call it semi-transparent, or it might be just an object in his hand. The being had with him a pyramidical object. And when the Conjurer looked at the object more closely, he saw inside many suit-wearing men pacing around in what seemed like a very sophisticated business. Modern business building. Okay, that's okay. Then where does the story go next? One of the men was also wearing a fedora hat. That was true to detective. He seemed to blend in with the businessman very well. But there was one funny thing about the businessmen. Each one of them had a boner. That's pretty funny. Okay. In midst of these businessmen in suits, there was a peculiar figure, though, wearing a fedora hat with the suit. Odd thing, though, was that each businessman also had a motor. In midst of these businessmen in suits, there was a peculiar figure, though, wearing a fedora hat with the suit. That was the detective. That had been called to figure out why all the businessmen had boners. Okay, then back to the Conjurer. The Conjurer looked at the scene inside of the pyramidical object that the deep being had brought in with him on his uninvited visit. And asked, "Why are you showing me this crap?" The Conjurer looked at the scene inside it. The Conjurer looked at the scene inside of the pyramidical object that the deep being had brought in with him on his uninvited visit to the dark room, and asked, "Why are you showing me this crap?" "Because you have nothing better to do." The deep being said. "Why don't you sell drugs or do something with your life? Much more profit in that than just staying in this room all day." The deep being said. Okay, we're not gonna write it like 2 times the same way. You see over here this? No 2 times the same way. "Because you have nothing better to do," the deep being said. There should be a column after, this parenthesis. There should be a column about here, like one space and that, like that. and then you start the next, you know. And this can, I think this should be uppercase, I think. And then if you continue the dialogue, you don't have to put a dot over here. Yeah. So why don't you sell drugs or something with, or do something with your life? Much more profit in that than just staying in this room all day, said the deep being. But I have a book to write. The Conjurer says. Well, I hope I didn't interrupt your I gave you an idea then, said the deep being, and vanished back into his drug den. I'm going back to my drug den. Hope you get it written before you die. Okay. Okay, so dialogues have to be written like this. Well, I hope I gave you an idea then, said the deep being. I'm going back to my drug den. Hope you get the book written before I die. Yeah, that's funny. How so? Are you sick or something? Asked the Conjurer. No, but with the pace I'm taking drugs with, I won't be here for long. The deep being says. Keep it short, though. I don't have the patience for reading. Yeah, that's drug addicts for you. They wouldn't be writing this kind of stuff. They wouldn't have the patience. You know, it's pretty funny that Stephen King was actually addicted to cocaine at some point. The deep being said, keep it short though, I don't have the patience for reading anymore. Then it could be a story about how, you know, how the Conjurer became the way he is, and how the deep being became this drug addict type of a person. Okay. I don't want to edit just there. There has to be something more to it. In the end, the Conjurer decided to write it in the block form. But even that was probably too long. Too long to read. For the goldfish minds of the modern age. Okay, that's the end. In the end, the Conjurer decided to write the book in a blog form. Even that was probably too long to read for the goldfish minds of the modern age. And that's kind of critical, you know, of the yeah, we're gonna go with that. Now I'm going to, you know, release it and I'm going to read it to you, and yeah, we'll keep it short. Oh, and I noticed that I wrote the whole time Conjuror, even though it's pronounced Conjurer and it's written Conjurer. So here's the story, and I did this small photo over here. So yeah, but you know, the spacing is kind of weird, you know, in this one. The Conjurer was trapped in the dark room. He had started building the room with wooden pillars in each of the four corners. In these wooden pillars, the Conjurer had carved decorative symbolisms and poetries that spiraled around the wooden surface. On each of the four corners of the room, there was a bookshelf. All the books on the shelves were black. It was a very solemn and depressing place to live, but the Conjurer liked it. Now, though, the Conjurer had been visited by an unforeseen being from the deep. The spacing over here could be a little bit different. The being had with him a pyramidical object, and when the Conjurer looked at the object more closely, he saw inside many suit-wearing men pacing around what seemed like a very sophisticated and modern business building. The odd thing, though, was that each businessman wearing a suit also seemed to have a raging boner. In the midst of these businessmen in suits, there was a peculiar figure, though, wearing a fedora hat with the suit. That was the detective. He had been called in to figure out why all the businessmen had boners. The Conjurer looked at the scene inside the pyramidical object that the deep being had brought in with him on his uninvited visit to the dark room, and asked, "Why are you showing me this crap?" "Because you have nothing better to do," the deep being said. "Why don't you sell drugs or do something with your life? Much more profit in that than just staying in this room all day," said the deep being. "Well, I hope I gave you an idea," then said the deep being. "I'm going back to my drug den. Hope you get a..." Hey, I'm missing a freaking sentence over here. Yeah, I'm missing a fucking sentence over here. Like, what the fuck, man? Well, it kind of matches to the character, you know, it's whatever. "Because you have nothing better to do," the deep being said. "Why don't you sell drugs or do something with your life? Much more profit in that than just staying in this room all day," said the deep being. "Well, I hope I gave you an idea," said the deep being. "I'm going back to my drug den. Hope you get the book written before I die." "How so? Are you sick or something?" asked the Conjurer. "No, but with the pace I'm taking drugs, I won't be here for long." Deep being said, "Keep it short, though. I don't have the patience for reading anymore." In the end, the Conjurer decided, well, Yeah, okay. It's no good, you know, but it's okay. This one was a story I kind of sketched, you know, in my notebook. It was much, you know, it was very indecent, you know, and I wouldn't write it, you know, over here like how I wrote it, but it was much better, you know, how I sketched it with a fountain pen, you know. I write so much better with a fountain pen than I write with, you know, keyboard and this voice recognition crap. But yeah, this is the only way that I can write on the computer nowadays. But that's a new story for you. Yeah.